Hey, hello, hello?
Microphone check a 1 2.
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Just as an aside, I'm live. Don't say anything that you don't want leaked or whatever. Yeah? Wait, hello?
Microphone check a 1 2.
Working again?
Yeah. Wait, it says push to talk.
Mhm.
And my dumbass doesn't really know how to. Sorry, I don't know how to use your program.
No, that's fine. There. I mean, it might ask you to push it. I guess if you're not pushing a button right now, it's not on push to talk, right?
No, I'm pushing a button. It's just that I'm driving and I don't want to kill it.
Oh, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. Are you? Is there an area? Are you going to be stopping soon? Are you going to be driving for a while, or?
For like the next maybe 5 minutes. I'm going to work to gear up because we got riots downtown.
Gotcha. Oh, are you like going to be starting work pretty soon, or?
At 5 p.m., but I'm gearing up at 4:30 so we can stay.
Gotcha. Do you want to wait till you like pull in or whatever? And we can chat for like 10 or 15 minutes, or?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, isn't it technically illegal to be talking on your phone while driving?
Hey, no one's looking.
Um, if you get in a car accident and die or some shit, I'm gonna feel like pretty bad.
I think I memorized the spot where my push to talk button is, so I don't think it's going to be an issue for the foreseeable future.
Okay. Well, I guess you're gonna start out by telling people like what your approximate job is or whatever. Wait, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Yes. My name is Christian. I'm a police officer with the largest city in my state. It's one of the West Coast states. It's not California or Washington.
Okay,
And I'm a
you're
member
like
of
narrowing it down so much.
I'm a member of my city's rapid response team. It's basically our riot police.
Okay. Um. Uh. So what? Jesus. Okay. Are you okay? So you're part of the rapid response. Are you guys like normal police officers? Like when you're not part of this crew, like are you like writing tickets and stuff? Or are you like detectives, or what do you guys do when you're not like working as part of the rapid response team?
Yeah, I'm a normal district officer. I'm just like a beat cop.
Uh huh.
I have my own district in the city. I never write tickets. We have our own traffic division that handles with traffic crimes and all that garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I just go to calls. My city has like the least amount of
Wait, your microphone just cut off. Your city has the least amount of.
it has the least amount of cops per capita of any like major city. So
Mm-hmm.
street cops are basically just doing like high priority crimes. They're not pulling people over and wasting time with.
Gotcha. So you just respond to calls and then you're like on patrol or something, or.
Yeah, majority of the time. And then whenever we have protests, because my city has tons of protests each year,
Mm-hmm.
so they activate us to try and facilitate that so it can go smoothly.
Gotcha. Um,
My dad
how
said I come too much, but fuck my dad.
what's your experience been like on the ground so far? Like, have the protests been like pretty violent, or have they been pretty chill, or?
Oh man, these are like the most wild protests I've ever been a part of, and I've been a part of a few. The I think the last major protest where people were freaking out was when Trump got elected.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty wild, but it wasn't to this extent, at least not in my city.
Um, so I guess I'm trying to think of questions that aren't too specific. In terms of like how you guys are taught to deal with crowds, I guess this would be like a big question I have. At what level does it become necessary to dispense like tear gas or whatever into crowds of people? Like, why does it seem like this is happening so commonly over the United States? Do you think that the police officers are out of line? Is it you guys are instructed to do it just when there are big crowds? Do you think the crowds
Oh
are a little bit more
no!
belligerent
If
than?
you're dispensing tear gas into like a huge crowd, you're probably very out of line. We do tear gas here in usually like smaller groups. Like if the group is you're kind of pushing it,
Wait, if the group is what you're
especially
kind of
with tear
pushing it?
gas. We use smoke. If the group's over 20 and you're just like indiscriminately bombing them with quickly pushing it, We try to do that with like smaller clusters of rabble rousers, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So like our primary goal is to try and just make sure no dumb shit's happening. So if anybody is, you know, trying to fight each other, we try to squash that. If anybody is damaging or burning or looting or whatever, we try to squash that. But for the most part, we try and make the crowd take care of itself.
Mm-hmm. Have you guys had the National Guard deployed alongside you, or are you guys kind
Heck
of?
no. So our mayor asked recently. He was like, "Hey, I'm asking on our governor to deploy the National Guard to help out." And our chief was like, "No, we don't need the National Guard." And then the governor thankfully was like, "No, we're not sending the National Guard."
Mm-hmm. How often do you guys like train for scenarios like this? Like, you said that you're like a normal beat cop. Is this like the first time you're gonna put on any of this riot gear in like years or months, or like do you guys have like?
No. The last time we shoot, when was the last time? It was within the year. There's so many of these, but it's usually about once a quarter. There's either Patriot Prayer, Proud Boys, some sort of other like group that will come or flock over to the area. Oh, in the beginning of the year, there was a KKK Grand Wizard or something like that who was visiting my city, and then the Antifa types were they were trying to stage like a like a meeting party for him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like the last time I was sort of like deployed for that. That was like in January, I think.
Gotcha. What I guess like what kind of tactics do you guys like normally use in terms of dealing with crowds when they start to get belligerent? So like in a lot of the places in the U.S. we've seen like properties being destroyed or people are getting a little crazy.
Yeah, so typically when there's like a lot of sort of mob mentality, like theory and whatnot that our incident commanders and all of them try and use.
Mm-hmm.
Down on the ground with our rapid response team, we're basically just trying to set up a bunch of surveillance points. So we will have mobile field forces, which is like a group of 12 people sent to this street, sent to that street, like main thoroughfares, main intersections, to try and just keep eyes on the protests. For a majority of the time, it'll just be like a big group. They all blob, and then they will either meet at some place. They will say they're going, oh, we're going to this square. Oh, we're going to march down this street. And then we'll just kind of keep eyes on that. If things go sideways, like let's say there are some agitators or there's a splintered off group that's starting to break windows or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
we usually try and send a tiny team up there to like shout at the crowd, say, hey, that guy in the red backpack with the black hoodie, we're trying to get that guy. No one else is in trouble. We just want that guy. Usually the crowd understands, and then we will run in and nab him. And then we bring him back to our field arrest team.
Would you say have crowds been more like cooperative in terms of turning over like vandalizers and stuff, or have they been?
Oh
more...
yeah, 100%.
Where you're at, are the crowds majority black or majority white?
Oh no, I live in like one of the whitest states in the world.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay. So I kind of thought so. Do you guys have, or can you walk me through the process of like why do cops find like medic stations and stuff? And like walk through and like torch these places basically and kick people out.
Oh, they're just dumb as fuck. So we have planes up in the sky too to monitor the situation. So we have like a Cessna 172 that's just doing loops around the city with like a really nice camera, and they monitor the protests as well. Every now and then they'll feed us intelligence like, hey, there's this car handing something to protesters. We have no idea what it is. Here's the car description. A car on the or a patrol officer on the ground will say, hey, that is this car. Here's the license plate. We'll send a team to go contact it. A lot of times it's just water bottles, and then we mark their car and send them on their way. We have like this. We have these like spray paint that's washable. So if we encounter a car and we say it's good to go, we just do a little mark on the rear bumper and we say they're good to go. Oh, it's just food or it's just candy bars or whatever. They're good.
Gotcha. I'm trying to like I guess like one of the surprising things to me that's been going on is just like how much fuck Well, I need an asshole cop, I guess, because it sounds like we're probably gonna agree on most things. Like the things that have been blowing my mind the most have been like shooting people on their porch with paintballs, or like shooting people like calling out from their windows, like shooting tear gas and stuff at them, or like trying to pepper spray people like that. I mean, like I'm gonna ask, but I know the answer is probably no, right? None of this is like standard department stuff that you guys probably learn, right? Like,
Nah, heck no, that's super not. So my agency has probably one of the most restrictive use of force policies in the country. When the whole Ferguson thing was happening, we voluntarily asked the Department of Justice, hey, we know things are kind of fucked up across the country right now. Department of Justice, come over, look over our policies. We will be completely on board with whatever changes need to be made. They came over, they looked over our policies, said a lot of shit was fucked up, and we sort of like, we've been working with them to try and build better, either policing policies, use of force policies, all of that. So every single, like I'm a grenadier, I have a less lethal launcher, less lethal, not non-lethal, you dumbass. And
that's a stupid fucking term, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Well, you have stupid fucking reasons for thinking it's a stupid term.
Listen, everything is less lethal, okay? Literally every use of force ever is less lethal. It's so fucking dumb, but okay.
If I have a direct impact munition, the little rubber bullet everybody's been freaking out about, 40 millimeter.
Yep.
And let's say I aim for their chest, or no, I don't aim for their chest, but I aim for their legs, but they duck down because they heard a nearby flashbang, and it hits them in the face and they die.
Yeah.
Was it non-lethal?
Yeah, of course.
No, because they died. How is it non-lethal if they died?
It's non-lethal is supposed to be the intention of the round. Like if I let's say that I push somebody. What if I push somebody and they fall over and they hit their head on the concrete and their head explodes or whatever because they fall the wrong way? Was that like a lethal push?
Lethal push, my dude.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's fine, I guess. Okay. Every single thing is less lethal then, but. Anyway,
yeah, thank you.
But regardless,
do
you have less lethal?
Single,
go ahead.
Every single munition that I deploy, whether it be a can of tear gas, even smoke, my 40 millimeter rounds or pepper balls, whatever I'm doing, I have to do a use of force report after the fact. So let's say I deploy I've helped someone with one of my rubber rounds.
Yeah.
I will announce over the radio, hey, this is me. I just used one of my 40 millimeter. The dispatcher will make a note of it on the call. That way, when after the fact of whenever the protest is over, I will go back, review all of my notes, and do the use of force reports for each one of those events. So yeah, people I have to justify each one of these uses of forces. So
yeah, this sounds like military.
Someone's tossing a tear gas grenade or some shit like that in someone's apartment. They have to have some sort of governmental interest for doing so. If they were just like, I didn't like this guy calling me bitch, so I threw a tear gas grenade into his fucking apartment. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, they're dumb.
Yeah. I guess in general, why does it feel like so much policing in the United States is based around escalation? So I guess in terms of having a firearm, right? Your goal is you want everybody to be around you as chill as possible. You don't want to put people at a high tension or make people uncomfortable, make people more jumpy because it makes everything less controllable. It feels like when I watch some police officers on admittedly on YouTube videos, so maybe I'm only catching part of an encounter. It seems like people are so quick. Or officers are so quick sometimes to escalate up to fucking lethal force, or they're just so out of control, or they seem like they're power tripping or whatever. Is there a good reason for this or a good excuse for this? Do you think most of these encounters are just caught one-sidedly, and there was generally officers are okay in terms of going to the max, or what are your thoughts on that in general? I guess.
So I do believe that there are a large portion of police officers who kind of suck at their job. A lot of them are, A-type personalities. You'll hear that a lot, oh, I'm an A-type personality, blah, blah, blah. But I do think a lot of it just comes with people power tripping, being an asshole, and just not having proper training and experience. A lot of departments or all agencies across America do not have uniform training. Some departments are far better than others, and some barely even have any in-service training because of the size of their agency. So training across the board is just it's all over the place. And then on top of that, different cities and different municipalities, different counties, they all have different call loads. So here in a major city, you're dealing with a fuck ton. You're getting a lot of experience. Every week you're going to be pulling your gun because of some sort of high risk call, whether it be a robbery, you know, a DV call involving a firearm or something like that. So you're getting a ton of experience. Whereas if, let's say you're in, I don't know where these things are happening, but let's say you're, I don't know, in Georgia, in a small town, and you know you have like one major call probably in your career, and then it finally happens. You have like some fight happening, you know, domestic violence. There is a high likelihood that someone is getting hurt. You get in there, your adrenaline's pumping, and then you know, it maybe is not a big deal, but you still got all that going. I don't know. People suck.
Gotcha. Do you think that there should be like yearly fitness physicals for police officers?
Oh yeah, 100%. So my agency is also slacking in this department. We are sort of revamping it, where if you are motivated enough during your shift, we only have 10-hour shifts. So during your shift, you can take 1 hour of gym time. Boom. It's not mandatory or anything like that, but it's something. And pretty much everybody's taking advantage of this because it's 1 hour. You're off the street, not taking care of calls, not writing reports or anything like that. You're just in the gym. So it's giving people what's that called? A reason to work out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely should have like fitness standards. But how you'd implement that? Because I was in the military, we had annual fitness standards or fitness tests, and they were dumb as fuck. We still had fat fucks in the military. So it's kind of hard with implementation.
What for military stuff, was it just like push-ups, pull-ups, and like mile time?
Yeah,
or mile
push-ups, sit-ups, running, you know, like really dumb shit. And then we had waist circumference and yeah.
If you, I mean, like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess fat people can still do it, but I mean, hey, if you can run a certain distance at a certain speed, I guess if you're fat, it's whatever, right?
Yeah, it's definitely better than nothing at all. I would agree with that. But you know, they're doing X amount of push-ups doesn't say whether or not you're fit.
Yeah, sure.
We need judges who would determine the masculinity and femininity of people, some sort of beauty pageant free or something like that.
Yeah.
If you look the part, you're fit as fuck, you're good to go. But if you have some jelly rolls forming, then you gotta retest.
Are there any cases that like have come out recently that you would have like a hot take on? So maybe a case where like most Americans were like, dude, that was fucked up, this is police brutality, blah blah blah, but then like you looked at it and you're like, no, actually in this case I think that publicly most people were wrong. I think that this, you know, perpetrator or whatever like earned whatever happened. Like he just
there are so many. I can't think of any of them on the top of my head. Do you have a specific one that you were fighting with your community?
How about what about, you know, Philip Castile, the guy in the car? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, dude blasted that guy because the guy said he's a concealed handgun owner or something like that. Then dude freaked the fuck out and blasted his wife and kid in the back or something like that.
Yeah, or yeah, kills him. I think his girlfriend and kid in the back. Yeah.
Yeah, that was dumb as fuck. That dude should have been fucking like locked up or something. That was some shit.
I don't know if there's any that me and my chat disagree on. Are there, chat, can you guys think of a shooting that the only ones where I'm more lenient towards the cops are when, or here, yeah, talk to me about this one, okay? The only ones where I'm more lenient towards the cops are when you get called to a scene and you have reports that a guy has a gun, and when you get there, for whatever fucking reason, the guy that you're trying to get under control like won't show you his hands. Like he either won't like put his hands on the like hood of a car, or he won't like they're like in his pockets all the time. There was one shooting. Oh man, this might be like an ultra fucking hot take. Holy shit. There was one shooting of a guy outside of a gas station where there were two cops that were trying to get him to put his hands on the car, and he wouldn't do it. And I think eventually they shot and killed him. But he did have a gun on him. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? What? Did you say something?
Oh, I'm talking. Did everything fuck up? I just parked, so now I have the ability to look at push to talk.
Oh, nice.
And not kill anybody on the road.
It was apparently a guy that was like outside a gas station, and they said he was like selling DVDs or something, or I don't remember. Oh man, if somebody like, If somebody has the name, if somebody just said the name, I might be able to find it. Hold on, let me check.
Well, so if I get the facts of the matter correct, there
Mhm.
was a dude doing something. Caller said that he was possibly armed with a gun,
Mhm.
and police came out, super not compliant, and then they blasted him. Was he like trying to reach for something?
I mean, that's what they claim, but it was hard to tell from the body cam footage. Man, I'm not gonna be able to remember. Whatever, fuck me. I'm not gonna remember it. Was it a female officer? No, it was two males. They were standing outside like a gas station. There was a car. I think this happened in 24. Oh, it might have been Alton Sterling. Does that name ring a bell?
It does not ring a bell.
Okay, all right, never mind. Fuck. I guess I can't think of any more high profile. Um, yeah, fuck. I mean, honestly, it sounds like we're gonna. It sounds like we'd agree on most things, except for your really stupid use of the term "less lethal." But otherwise, I think.
Whatever.
Otherwise, I think we agree
It's
with.
crazy. It's because on all of our munitions it says less lethal on every single weapon that you'd purchase from all these manufacturers. It all says
Yep,
less
we
lethal,
call
but
those the
for
PC
some
police.
reason you
The
okay?
PC
Oh, the
police have
PC
come
police.
on and
Gotcha.
ruined
Okay.
all your fucking weapons. Yep, it happens, man.
All right. Almost like it's like a conspiracy.
Yeah. Wait, when Soros is funding your weapons manufacturing, yeah. Oh, how do you have an opinion on body cams?
Oh yeah, those are cool as fuck. They're just so expensive and really hard for major cities to get rolling because of like our city. We want them, but there's no one wants to give more money to the police,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a stumbling block that we're facing. Two, storage of all of the thousands of megabytes of data, at
Mm-hmm.
least, you know, we need a whole bunch of like service providers for the data to go wireless through the air, cellular or something. So
Uh-huh.
we'd have to pay like billions of dollars a day to support all this. So there's a ton of infrastructure involved. It's expensive as fuck, basically. And then on top of that, you have the like record keeping part of it, and then like the FOIA aspect for um, requests for access to our data.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that shit is really complicated. And then on top of that, long-term storage for cases. We have to keep data for cases or any information on cases for X amount of years before we could destroy it. So we need like a warehouse full of DVDs, store all the stuff, and
Yeah, the only
you know
argument that I'd ever had, I think it was somebody that worked in a police department at someplace in the Midwest who emailed me about it, and he said that body cams are like the coolest idea in the world, but the actual implementation, because he was telling me like a lot of these really old police departments have people that still use like fucking fax machines and shit, and you're talking about like a relatively sophisticated data system where the security would have to be like pretty important because if all of that got leaked, you could have problems, and that like the data upkeep and maintenance and all these things would just be like not necessarily a bad idea, but it would be such a tremendous like barrier to getting it all running. Do you have any thoughts? Wait, if you're talking, I can't hear you. You didn't say anything, did you?
Yep, I was talking, but you can't hear me. But you
Okay.
said, did I have any thought?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the idea of like the demilitarization of the police? You ever heard that term before?
Yeah, I get it. We do look scary, with if there's like a big bear cat rolling along. I get it. Me personally, I wear an internal vest because some people do freak out about the external vest.
Mm-hmm.
We have the choice to choose between like the cool, really sweet looking external vest versus just wearing a plain old internal vest. I like the internal vest because it gives me more flexibility if you're rolling around on the ground with someone. They can't grab at you. It looks more professional and less militarized. And yeah, it's just a better in my opinion. But yeah, things like ARs, I think we need ARs. Those are fucking super necessary. But some people think that we're not fighting jihadi johns in Afghanistan or whatever, so we don't need ARs or something.
Sure.
I don't know.
What's
But
your
yeah, it's
are you allowed to say what your service weapons are?
yeah. So every day I carry a less lethal 40 millimeter launcher. I carry my AR-15 and Glock 17,
Uh-huh.
and that's it. Yeah, that's my loadout pretty much.
Wait, I'm curious.
I
So
can't
if you
think
shoot
outside
somebody with
of.
a 22, would you say those are less lethal rounds since most people survive?
Well, most people survive guns from handshots or handguns in general. I think it's like you have a 70 something percent chance of surviving a handgun wound.
Yeah. So would you say
So
like
yeah,
so like
like all my fucking
5.56 that would be like
yeah,
lethal,
100%. I
9
if I
millimeters
was
less
responding
lethal?
to a call and yeah, yep, that was a less lethal shot, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious. I'm sorry. I'm giving you a hard time. Glock 17, AR-15. Okay, some of the pictures that I've seen, your AR-15 builds look fucking sick as fuck. Are these like department standards? Do cops get to choose their own shit, or like do
So
you?
it is entirely based on the agency you work for. Us, because we are like, oh yeah, we're super friendly. We don't want to look too militarized. Our AR-15s have a stock loadout. We have like we don't even have retractable butt stocks, which kind of fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have like a red dot. You either choose red dot or fucking what is the other one called? Hollow,
Like hollow or some
whatever.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so we at least we're not using irons on it, but yeah, we don't get flashlight. It looks general. We don't have like those super tactical rails on the pistol grips, fucking shit like that,
With the blinking lights to blind your opponent, all that shit. Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
no, we don't got that. But I mean, that's unnecessary. Most of the fights that you're getting into are like within like 50 feet, so
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't fucking matter to have all that tactical shit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was involved in 3 shootings, and all of them were, except for one, was within like 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So having like a fucking, I don't even know what you'd put on your AR, other than ammunition that you need to kill someone. Ammunition and a sight, right? That's all you.
Yeah. I mean, you tell me. I mean, you've had more real life AR experience than I have, so I mean, I imagine you would know better than me, right? Oh
Sure.
shit! If you're talking, your mic's not working right now.
Oh goodness gracious. Yeah, this is a pain having to set my thumb on this button for as long as I've been having.
Yeah. Um. Hmm. Well, is there anything else? What? I'm curious. Why did you reach out specifically to me to chat?
Oh, because I like watching you, and I saw you saying some dumb shit about protests and whatnot, and the chat saying some dumb shit about protests. So I was like, you know what? Let me pop in and say my spiel.
Has there been anything else that you feel so aside from the lethal, non-lethal, less lethal stuff? Is there anything else like any other major takes that you feel like me or other streamers or whatever have given that you disagree with regarding protests?
Yeah, so there's a lot of times where people will post a video online saying like, they'll have their cameras out, and then cops will do like their gas, and they're saying, "Oh shit, we were peaceful protesting. We're not doing fucking nothing," and all these guys are gassing us, and all this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to determine whether or not we need to be using any sort of crowd dispersal tactics or techniques, or using any sort of munitions to disperse a crowd during like a unlawful like civil disturbance.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if there's just let's say something has been deemed a riot or a civil disturbance. There are people around the street, causing
Mayhem.
fires to buildings,
Yeah.
burning shit down, just rabble rousing in general. And then there's an order to, hey, this is an unlawful disturbance. We don't have time to police every single individual person, but we do know that there are a lot of people that are doing damage and destruction, hurting people.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to be, we don't have, it's not reasonable or feasible for police to sort of say, hey, there's a group of 20 over there, and you know what? That group over there is super peaceful. We're just not going to, we're not going to deal with them. It's like that group of 20 was a part of the group of 100 earlier that was, setting fires to shit. They got to go home. So disperse them. We'll deal with making the city safe first. We're not trying to like interview each person. Hey, are you a peaceful protester? Cool. You know what? You guys can do what you're doing. You're trying to make the city safe. So, you know, it's not
Yeah,
like
sure, I understand.
it's not reasonable to, if there's 50 people fighting, 3 out of those 50, or let's say 25 out of those 50 weren't doing anything, but you still got 25 other people who were fighting. Gas them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And there's been a lot of videos about like during these protests, like people beating the fuck out of other people and like smashing them in and whatnot. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's also dumb as fuck. I've been looking at Twitter like every day for my agency, and so far we haven't been featured in those dumb fucking videos. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, I'm kind of thankful for that.
People want to know what you thought about Trump's photo op, pushing the people out of the church in the square, or whatever.
You talking about the one where he was holding up the Holy Bible?
Yeah,
That was cringe as fuck, dude.
yeah, I kind of figured. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
curious.
So
What
what's up?
what do you think about like so when protesters start to block cop cars? What do you think police officers are supposed to do in that situation?
Are you talking about the video where the dude like rams into like a group of 20 or 30
Yeah, something
protesters
like
that
that. Yeah.
were in front of his car? Of course, we're taught this, like this is day one of your training on confrontation management. If there's a group of people in your car, throw
Mm-hmm.
that baby in reverse. If you are being overwhelmed from all sides, try and creep through. And then if there's people breaking in your windows and shit like that, do what you got to do to get out there. But you still, it's the same concept for if there was a group of 20 people standing in front of me, one of them is shooting at me. I'm not gonna just try and unload my rounds onto the crowd
Mm-hmm.
because of that one shooter. I have to get myself to safety. I can't put the lives of other people at risk just because there's that one person who's threatening my life.
Yeah.
So if there are people breaking into your window and you're in a crowd, you just got to kind of, you can't just fucking ram through everybody. You still have to be reasonable with your application of force.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you got to creep through. It sucks. You're still in a car. You might get some punches to the face, or if someone starts stabbing you, you try and have to deal with it in a way that's reasonable. You still can't just fucking gun it on
Mm-hmm.
a group of 30 other people just because they're blocking your path.
Yeah. Are you part of the department in your police office or your precinct that goes around and like dresses up as protesters and instigates riots, or is that a different division?
No, those are our Black Ops team.
Yeah. Okay. Just checking. Give me one of those guys to talk to. Okay, I got questions about. Have you seen all the videos of like bricks laying around or whatever, or heard anything about that? People are
Yeah,
accusing...
we've been placing Molotov cocktails on certain avenues in front of Antifa buildings. No, we've not been doing any of that. We do have people who are in plain clothes
Mm-hmm.
who get intel though. So we have a bunch of detectives out in the crowd, or not a bunch, there's like 5 of them
Mm-hmm.
that are just out there. And then let's say the plane is doing its circles and they say, hey, we see 3 people on, first and second, and they are lighting fire to something. We're not too sure what it is. Plain clothes has a really easy ability to just walk over there,
Let's see
get
what's
eyes
up.
on. Oh, yeah, it's just a trash can. Or they will be in the big crowd. Like, let's say there's a gathering happening at the main square. They can be within the crowd saying like, oh yeah, it's mostly just people shouting, say his name or, things like that. No one is trying to say get bricks or flip them over. And then if they do see anybody like that, they can call out, hey, there's a guy in the striped hoodie. He's making statements that he wants to, go over here and flip a fucking car over or some shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so our plainclothes guys, because like I said, my city is pretty strapped for cops, so we don't want any of them out fucking trying to get into fist fights with people I don't even know what the goal would that be, to fuck up your city more? I don't know.
Yeah. What is like the general feeling of like the force, I guess, in regards to these protests? Like, are most people like, I wish these fuckers would just fuck off and go home, or what?
Check it out. So day one of George Floyd being killed, everybody was basically like, oh, fuck, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They announced protesters started gathering downtown, and we were like, okay, ROT's deployed, we're out there. It was very peaceful. Day one, super peaceful. A bunch of people, you know, laying down on the road, blocking traffic. Who cares? And we were like, okay. I think the next day or the next morning he got arrested. Everybody was like, "Hooey!" Dodged a bullet. They arrested him. We are all gonna have a peaceful, you know, rest of the week. Psych. Day two, fucking riots, and literally downtown is destroyed. So we were dealing with that bullshit. You know, it was a real surprise. We were not ready for it. We didn't have any intel that people would be going downtown. Like usually there are organizers saying like, "Hey, people on Twitter, 6 p.m. tomorrow, we're gonna be meeting at the square." Nope. It was just fucking mayhem. Everybody from everywhere was rushing stores, smashing windows. Complete surprise. It's fucking crazy.
Have you had a lot of like actual like looting and stuff going on, or is it mainly just
Oh
protest?
yeah. Louis Vuitton is fucking cleaned out. Yeah, lot of OfferUp ads with Louis Vuitton bags. We have one of our malls downtown completely fucking destroyed. It was so day two. There was just like massive fucking mayhem. Like every single shop on a whole street completely destroyed. Yeah, we were doing day two and day three were really fucked up. Day four, we had a super peaceful protest. Actually, let me tell you a little bit about day three with my city. Day three was pretty fucked up, super wild, or a little bit wild. But then, because most of our officers are working the protests and the riots, a lot of our city is unpoliced. So there was a neighboring city that was helping out shag calls. One of our cops, or two of our cops, got sent to a disturbance. Neighboring city officer goes and helps out with them. So all while we were dealing with the protest there on another side of town. It's like a man making threats to another guy, potentially, you know, whatever, you know. So they go there.
Wait, you just stopped. You said so they go there, and then your mic stopped. Wait, your mic's still not working if you're talking. Why? Who cares about them if they don't vote, Pixie? That's the problem that nobody understands. Nobody understands us on the left. If you don't